What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and this week's edition of Tesla Breakdown. We're going to break down the chart, the levels on each one of these time frames, the 1 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame, 2 daily time frames. I'll show you why in a minute if you haven't been tuning in. And we have the weekly time frame, the big wazoo, I call that one. That's our weekly time frame. So 1 hour time frame, that's the first time frame we like to break down. If I say time frame one more time, you have to drink. But let's dive into this one. 1 hour time frame, there you go, is currently showing bullish momentum. And the reason for it, we've got this green trend below the current price. So on the 1 hour time frame, we are looking at this green area as a current support. And the current levels of support that I'm looking at below the price is 347.69 and 342.94. So we can round up to the nearest dollar, of course, 343 and 348. So that's going to act as our area of value or area of support. This is on the 1 hour time frame. We are looking at this as a current bullish situation. We'll see what's on the next area time frame here, 4 hour time frame. At this point, guys, you should just be completely wasted. Hopefully you're just drinking water, but at this point I've said it enough. This time frame, the 4 hour time frame, is also showing bullish sentiment. Now this is pretty interesting because we had a bullish crossover in last week's price action. So we did have this bullish sentiment, tested the area, broke down below, did not hold that area, gave that bearish sentiment a little move there down below, retested, bounced away, test. All of a sudden we exploded and closed above. That means we are now bullish on the 4 hour time frame. That's right, I said bullish. We have support areas to watch this week, 333.06 and 341.96. Again, we could round up 342. So 342 and 333, that's going to act as our area of value and our support area. So we're going to look at that area as our possible area to pull back to. And right now we look a bit extended. If we measure off of this move, we are a bit extended. Now, I've seen worse, right? This is not the worst I've seen. 2% off of that line and level. And this area, right, maybe 4% to the bottom, maybe 6%. Not crazy, right? However, I have seen worse. So we could continue to gap up here, then rip back down to the level. In other words, we are bullish at this time. But at some point in time, we do have to test that area of value. We don't just explode and stay above that area. We always pull back and test, and that's what's going to be most interesting about this time frame is when we test, will we hold? Because over here we did not hold, and typically that is what we're looking for. We're looking for the retest and hold, a retest and hold. So at this point, bullish sentiment is being shown here, 341. Let's round that up, 342 and 333 acting as support. That is on the 4 hour. What am I going to say, guys? That's right, time frame. Now let's hop over to the daily time frame. Now the reason we have two daily time frames here is because we have the quick trend setting and the long trend setting. These are two different settings on this indicator, and these indicators are found at bullishboblive.com. Everyone can get access to them there for trading view. Really great indicators to decide on sentiment. Now we have two different settings involved into this. We have the quick trend setting and the long trend setting. Right now on this time frame, the 1 day or daily time frame is showing a shorter time frame or shorter quick trend setting. So we get faster signals is what I'm saying here. At this point in time, we are again extended off of our area of value. So we are showing this green area of value. So again, that is bullish sentiment. That is support, right? So we could, in theory, pull back to this area of value. And that area of value is going to be 340.37 and 330. We'll round that up to 330 there. So 330 to 340 really is our area of value on this daily time frame for a possible test of that area. Now, when I'm talking about the crossover and pullback, this was our crossover. This was our pullback. We did hold that pullback. It took a few days before it finally exploded, but we did hold in this pullback. That's what we want to see. This is where I'm looking to buy typically, because I don't want to buy that breakout and that continuation. Sometimes I may get into that, but that's a different type of strategy. If I'm looking for a pullback, this is the area of value. It must hold the door, right? Come on, hold door. Well, we held the door. And we just exploded, right? We just had this explosion candle and just continuation, pulled back, all of a sudden another entry dip here and exploded again. So these dip buyers are making some money right now, right? At this point, yes, we are extended. We are starting to extend here, 355.87, the high of the Friday's candle. However, we are not this is not the worst I've seen. Again, I've seen worse. So this could continue to extend here before we finally see the pullback. But at some point, we should, in theory, see a pullback, something in this area like this. And I do believe that when we see that pullback, I think it's going to be very sharp. I think it's going to close below on this time frame. I think we'll get a little sideways action. And I think eventually Tesla will topple over. But at this time, it doesn't matter what I think, right? Let's go to the rock, cut to the rock saying, it doesn't matter what you think, right? Tesla doesn't care about my opinion. What we care about is the chart setup. And the chart setup is telling me that this is currently bullish sentiment. We are extended, so we could, in theory, pull back to where 330 and 340. That's our area of support on this daily time frame with the quick trend setting attached. Now, the daily time frame with the longer trend setting attached to this one. And this is one of the settings that I really love to trade, one of the time frames I love to trade myself. Again, we are extended off of this trend area. That's one of the first things that I noticed. Second thing I noticed, of course, is we have the green trend. This is a bullish sentiment, bullish trend here, right? So I want to trade in that direction. However, we are extended off of that level. We have seen worse over here and over here, but we could extend a little bit farther, but I really don't want to be taking these trades at the top of the move. I'd rather, look for a pullback into that zone, or I could maybe take small scalps and maybe a put or puts down back to the area of value. But at this time, we are showing bullish sentiment. So I don't want to go crazy with those puts because I know that this is bullish and it could, in theory, continue whether I think so or not. Because the area of value that we're looking at now is 319.46 and 337.46. So we are looking for this as a possible area of support and area of value. So if and when we pull back, that's where we're looking for a possible entry. And of course, Tesla is going to give us maybe a few put opportunities on the way back down to that area. Again, we're getting extended. I have seen worse, so we'll see what happens. But at this time, daily time frame, longer trend setting, we are showing bullish sentiment going into next week. So, weekly time frame, the big wazoo, as I like to call it. If you've been around here for a few weeks or longer, I think you know that I like to call this one here the big wazoo. The reason for it, weekly time frame, we don't get many signals here. And let me get out of character for a minute. But we don't get as many signals. Why? Because a weekly time frame is a wider time frame. Each one of these candles consists of 7 days worth of price action, basically, right? We're looking at weekly time frames, weekly candles, week candle, week candle, week candle, right? So longer time frames, longer holds, less signals. In other words, let's see what we got. We've got bearish sentiment. Whoa, that's something different, right? We zoom back out here. We've got bullish, 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 bearish on the big wazoo. The reason for it, we are still bumping our heads against this resistance wall at 360.78. We are sitting here until we clear that 370 and hold. So I want to see that crossover and hold. At this current time, the weekly time frame, the big wazoo on Tesla is showing bearish sentiment. That's right, the big bear's out here. So we want to be careful here. So maybe again puts possibly, so using this in conjunction, right? Seeing this weekly time frame and knowing that I've got this big old chunk of 360 resistance up here. You know, I'm open to maybe puts on a daily time frame where we're pulling back into this trend zone, right? Knowing that we've got that big overhead resistance, especially if maybe we start to gap up here, extend a little bit more off of this daily time frame, maybe I could find myself a nice area of value around that 360, 370 resistance, or excuse me, 360, 361 resistance. If I could see myself around that resistance, well, I might be getting myself a nice little put trade here. Now, I may be wrong, so I want to be careful here. I am trading against the direction or the trend direction in all of these other trends and time frames. However, the weekly is the big wazoo. So I'm looking to trade with the trend here. So at this time, we are bumping our heads into a resistance. We are testing multiple times. And at a certain point, we do need to kick down that door. You keep kicking that door, banging that door over and over and over. Bang, 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 bang. Eventually, boom, you're going to break the door down. And what happens then? Old resistance becomes new support. So we want to look at that, guys. If we start to pull off here and clear that 360 and 365 area, 370, and really start to hold, well, guess what? This guy is going to start leaning towards calls. I'll be on the call side of things and I'll be your Tesla guy, telling everybody and their moms how bullish Tesla is and how you need to buy it and put it in your portfolio, right? So until then, guys, the weekly time frame showing resistance here, bearish sentiment. Use that in conjunction with our daily time frames, hour time frame, 4-hour time frame. At this time, sure, I could trade maybe day trades, little swing trades, something smaller time frames, and hold for less time, and maybe some of these time frames here. Daily time frames, I can hold for a couple days, and then weekly time frame, that's something I may be holding for a longer swing. So I'm looking for further out contracts and dates, of course, for expiration times. But guys, that is the breakdown this week for Tesla, TSLA, going into our week. If you want to see the daily report, I put out a daily report every day. We just added that to our free Discord, guys. It's free. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is join our Discord. You get it in the free section of our Discord. Every morning I send out this updated Tesla report. It will give you any information that's needed about it, the key levels to watch. You got it. It comes in every day before market open, before 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want that, bullishboblive.com. Come on over, join into our free Discord, get yourself on that daily report. And guys, I'll see you in the Discord. If not, I'll see you next week, every Sunday, going over Tesla's key levels. Thanks, guys.
Remember, trading isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. If you're serious about improving and want to learn directly from our live sessions, visit bullishboblive.com. We're live Monday to Friday, walking through setups, strategies, and everything in between. Thanks again for watching. Stay focused, stay sharp, and keep growing.